Hello and welcome to Jersey Shore Scouting Live on TomsRiver.tv. And we're going to start this off, our premiere show, with a little bit of history about Boy Scouting. In the early 1900s, American publisher and self-made millionaire William Boyce went to the United Kingdom on a business trip. While he was there, he got lost one night in the back streets of London in the fog, and out of desperation he asked a young boy for directions to the building where his meeting was. The boy said, "Follow me, I'll take you there." And the boy quickly led him through the streets of London, and he arrived on time for his business meeting. So William Boyce put his hand in his pocket, offered the young boy a few dollars or a few pounds, I don't know what, and the boy said, no thank you. And he told him that, "I'm a scout." William Boyce said, "What's a scout?" And he told him all about the Boy Scouting program and his responsibility to do a good turn every day. So throughout the meeting and throughout the night, William Boyce was thinking about a program that teaches young boys to do good, with good being its own reward. The next day he sought out the scouting headquarters, and luckily for all of us, behind the desk was Lord Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of the scouting program. Now, we don't know what William Boyce and Robert Baden-Powell talked about that day, but on a trip back to America, William Boyce was thinking less about publishing and more about this program, scouting. He came back, he contacted some of the business leaders in the Chicago area, some of the people he knew, and on February 8th, 1910, he incorporated the Boy Scouts of America. And a few years later, it was chartered by the United States Congress. And today, almost 100 years later, from coast to coast, border to border, in cities and towns all across America, adults just like you and I are trained to be leaders of young boys who are taught three important principles. First, duty to God and country. Second, unconditional service to others. And third, the development of outstanding character. And those three principles are represented in this sign, which is the Boy Scout sign. And here tonight, joining us for our first show, very special guest, I'd like to welcome to TomsRiver.tv Jersey Shore Council Scout Executive, Mr. Craig Shelley. Craig, welcome to TomsRiver.tv.
And thank you very much for having us.
Craig, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I grew up as a scout. I grew up actually in New York City, in Queens. My mom put me into Scouts, in Cub Scouts. Frankly, she was a single parent looking for an activity for her son to be in that was relatively affordable, that reinforced the values that she taught me at home, and provided positive adult role models. And I'll tell you, there aren't too many activities you're going to find that are going to fit the bill as perfectly as Boy Scouts. And really, that kind of started me on a journey that changed my life, and that I was very fortunate to benefit from, and now I'm very fortunate to be involved in giving back to. Went through the scouting program. I worked at Scout Camp. I was going to school at New York University in New York, a couple blocks away from the Scout office in New York City at that time. Started working there part-time in between classes. Came out of school and took it on as a career, and my career has brought me here to the Jersey Shore.
Great. How long have you been here at the Jersey Shore Council?
I've been here since April of 2008, so about a year and a half.
About a year. Well, welcome. What rank did you reach in scouting?
I was only a Life Scout. I was not an Eagle Scout.
Okay. Yeah, I was never a scout, so you beat me. I've been active in Scouts for a long time. The Jersey Shore Council is a great council. And we're going to talk about scouting from Tiger all the way to Eagle. Mm-hmm. And let's start with Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts is a very, very active program here in the Toms River area. And packs are still recruiting now for Scouts.
When you look at, as you had mentioned, we're approaching our 100th anniversary, and the most common question is, are you as relevant today as when we began our journey? And the answer is certainly yes. And you look here in our own communities at the Jersey Shore, our scouting programs serve about 11,000 kids. Cub Scouting being the entry level program. That's for first graders through fifth graders. Mm-hmm. It's very much family centered. Encourages young people, boys, to work with their parents or adult guardian, to learn skills, experience new things. And that's really what we're all about, is putting kids into an environment where we can teach values, we can teach those 3 points that you
Right.
began the session with, while they have fun, so we keep their interest, and then really just kind of help them experience things they wouldn't get to experience
Right.
on their own, build their self-confidence, build their self-esteem.
Yeah. And it gets them involved in the community, teaches them leadership qualities, even at the Tiger level.
Yeah, I mean, right from the beginning, any of the what we call rank advancements as you go through the program require you to illustrate leadership, require you to illustrate community service. While the program has always been about developing young people into great adults, the truth is it's also about developing great communities. It allows parents to come together with like-minded parents and instill values, while at the same time bettering our community. Every time a young person goes out and does a service project, paints a fence for a church, picks up garbage on the beach, that makes our community a little bit better. And maybe we don't always see it, but by and large, very often the Scouts are the ones doing that work.
That's right. The other great thing about getting involved in the Scouting program, we're all very busy today. And I know personally what Scouting did for me. Forced me to schedule time to be with my kids. And I have 4 boys, and I work a job, very busy, as you know. Scouting forced me to once a week take an hour to schedule time to bring them to a meeting, to be involved in a meeting, and more important, activities came home from those meetings that we worked on as a family.
Very often, I'll encounter parents that'll say, it's a burden. It's not like an activity where we drop our son off at karate or Little League, and those are great activities. And when they say that, it's hard, it's difficult for the time for us to take and spend and be involved, I usually tell them that's the point.
That's right.
We want you to spend time with your child. And I know I have 2 young children. They're not of Scout age yet, but I know one of my biggest struggles is finding time to be with them. And as you said, Scouting forces you to schedule that time. It encourages that time, whether you're in a volunteer capacity working at the Scout meeting or helping your child with their advancements at home. The parents always need to be involved in that stuff.
That's right.
It really is about building a family, about building that relationship. And in this day and age, it's not always an easy thing to do.
No, but it's an important thing to do.
Very much so.
Scouting also allows you to participate in outings with your kids to places you might never get into on your own. And it's a shared experience that you can talk about and remember for years. So family values and Scouting values go hand in hand. And I find that very exciting. Scouting starts with the Tiger program.
The Tiger Cubs are for our first graders.
First graders. And that's one where the parents and boy work together at the meetings. In most dens, every boy gets a chance to host a meeting at his home. And whether you have a large house or a small house, we have a pretty small house, and we hosted Scout meetings for years and had a lot of fun. And the boys are really proud of the meeting that's run at their house. After Scouting, they go into Cub Scouting. They start as a Bobcat, and they learn the principles, and then
they become a wolf as they enter 2nd grade. You're working towards your wolf rank advancement. Then your bear. Then you become what we call a Webelow as you're in 4th and 5th grade, which sort of is that transition from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. And that's a very transitional time in a kid's life. So the program matches that.
And really, the intensity of the leadership increases in the Webelows program. Boys get the chance to step up to be first among equals. They learn to work together as a team, but also to respect and use each other's strengths and help overcome each other's weaknesses. So I think the team building of the Webelows program is very exciting.
And really, all the programs are age appropriate. They're designed for for you to move along. And you're right, that leadership slowly takes on a little bit more and more. When you're a Tiger Cub, it's helping your parent plan the activity that your family is going to host. When you're a Webelow, it's designing the menu for your overnight camp out. And it kind of progresses like that.
And a big day in a lot of boys' lives is that Webelows crossover into the troop. And it's something they remember. They remember their 8th grade graduation. They remember their crossover. And it's an exciting day, an exciting ceremony. And then they become a Boy Scout. And that's when the fun really starts, is what I always say.
Yep, and that's really where it becomes more and more a focus on leadership, team building, being with your peers. It's always going to be about being with your family and working with your family, but it becomes a little less so when you get to that age, where it's important for boys to kind of get outside their comfort zone, understand that they can do things without their parents, though we still always want the parents involved. Again, it's catered to their age, and as they get older, their responsibilities become more and more on their shoulders.
And they learn from other boys, which is what's a good thing too, so that they know to give back and teach to the younger boys as they move up. Part of the original plan in Boy Scouting that Baden-Powell had was to use the outdoors as the classroom to teach leadership, to teach citizenship. And that's what I think the boys like most about Scouting, is the chance to go camping, to go canoeing, go hiking, learn about the outdoors. But they learn about the community, they learn about government, they learn about history. They also learn about unlimited career opportunities. A boy might be exposed to surveying, And if your father's not a surveyor, you might know nothing about surveying, but you work on that surveying merit badge and you'll learn about career paths. That's very exciting.